Guys, it's episode number 8 of me playing Gambits, and this speedrun we're sitting at 1373 at this point. I'm trying to play some Gambits and, suggest the Gambits you want me to see playing, because, I kinda want something fun. Look, right now I sacrificed pawn, Scandinavian Gambit. It's actually quite exciting here. I could take back, but I'll just probably develop my pieces. I'll continue my development. Knight f3, I can go bishop g4 just to put some pressure on this diagonal, also try to go for knight d4. I'll probably go bishop g7. I gotta probably purchase, some courses of Simon Williams, because he has some very exciting gambits in the repertoire, and I feel like, that's gonna be an exciting thing to play, because some of the gambits actually make sense and they're actually cool. Let's play bishop g4, putting pressure on this diagonal, and now, at any point I might be able to take the pawn back. If d5, I think d5 is the move to be played. I'm not sure why it wasn't played on the board. Maybe rook c8 to maybe, I don't want to trade right away, because, it's still a huge pressure. I would rather play rook c8 now. I put pressure on this bishop on c4, and now bishop has to probably go back somewhere to, just to escape problems. Bishop e2. So he's basically saying, alright, there is no more pressures. Let's say I want to play h3, and that's the move I gotta consider defending from. So bishop f3 and queen d4, like, I'm not taking this pawn, unfortunately. One of the options I want to consider, maybe knight b4, and let's say h3, bishop f5, I'll put some pressure on c2 afterwards, and if bishop d3, he'll have to double his pawns, which is not the best thing to do in this position, because I think d4 and d3 will be huge weaknesses going into some sort of endgame. And if he chose, if he would to choose rook c1, I think I'll just play knight d5. Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. I'm not sure if I have to take with knight or bishop. The only thing why I want to take with bishop, because I have this knight and I want to play knight d5. Knight d3, that way, he'll still have g4 at some point. I'll have to go back. So it's a hard choice, but I'll honestly take the bishop here, c takes d3, and now I want to play knight d5. Now I put pressure on this, I attack bishop on f4. He might be trading some pieces of the board, because it's probably the smartest thing to do. Other than that, I think I just take, and he has huge weakness on d3, potentially on d4. d4 is not so much, but let's say e6, knight d5, I'm not that sure anymore. Queen a4 is a smart move in terms of, like, he puts some pressure on my a7 pawn. Let's play a6, defending my pawn, and also maybe at some point d5. Yeah, I know queen a6 right now, that's why kind of preparing for it in the future. Rook c1 taking c file under control. I think queen c8 putting some fight on basically c file. Let's play queen d5. In this types of position, it's very important to centralize your queen. Now it's watching towards this side, I think rook c2 is very important to attack pawn on a2, potentially putting some pressure on the second rank. And knight h5, knight f4 might be the ideas. He plays queen b3. I think rook a2 is a very strong move, since I attack the queen. If trades are happening, it's only result in my favor. Say takes, rook e5, trying to put pressure on d5 knight and on e7. I don't go back with my knight, because I just can simply protect it, and my knight on d5 is actually very stable. And he still has this very weak d3 and d4 pawns, while I have beautiful passed pawns here on the right side. b5, he was trying to block me. Knight f3, oh, he placed this, but I think e6, knight d6, attacking my rook, which is a smart idea, but I think rook c2, and there are huge troubles coming this way, as I simply start pushing my pawn on queen side. Now knight f3, trying to trade, I go knight f4, kinda attacking this. One of the options here, he plays rook c5. I don't trade, because actually, this rook cannot come back right away, and I think there can be some trouble, so I play rook d8, I attack on d4. Now white have to do something about this pawn, but there is not too much they can do, because there is no good way to protect. Knight c2 is not really a way, because I think I can just play knight d2, knight d4, still keep a lot of extra material, and will probably end up winning the game. This game lasts forever, and surprisingly, you know, it's around the same time. So, I mean, 1390 looks like not a bad player. But yeah, position is obviously losing. I think something like knight d3 works, or simply knight d2, I'm not so sure. Like knight d2, I really want to play it. Knight d5 seems like the easiest option, just, you know, to start trading pieces. And still, I mean, my point was that basically what happens is he's got a lot of weaknesses. So rook a4, yep, I'm getting lower in time. That's a bit surprising, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, rook comes to a2, this knight is an absolute monster, knight e3 at any point. I mean, I'm just winning the game. But yeah, it was a good fight by my opponent, but unfortunately I'm just entering the second rank and it's just awful. Let's put it this way, and I win. Now let's get to the next game. 1392, we will hit probably 1400 in this episode, unless some miracle happens. And that's the point of Scandinavian Gambit. You play e5, you play bishop c5, and you put a lot of pressure on the center. Castle, my opponent is 1528. Are there any better gambits for black? Let's say against e4? I'm trying to think. There's Stafford Gambit, but obviously it's like not many people will actually play it. But alright, it takes d4. So the point is, I'm not sure why many beginners do this mistake, but you gotta think, like, what happens if this strike happens? I mean, who takes d4? This guy's 1500, and I'm quite surprised that he blunders this. But I think he takes c3. I'm still attacking this. Bishop c1 has to go back right now, and you know, no. I mean, bishop d4 next. The point is rook b1, bishop d4, and I mean, he can just simply resign. I can even take on a1, but queen first, or I can just continue with my pressure. I'm just thinking, like, takes, I'm up a rook, right? If queen f6, I'm only up a piece. So what's the better option here? Obviously, for me, it looks like I would rather take this rook and then put bishop d4. Just take control over the center, so the opponent at least can push themselves. And bishop d7, bishop c6 is my next plan. This bishop goes this way, and I mean, there's just a bunch of problems everywhere here. f6. He's just trying to push, and that's his basically only idea. But I mean, extra rook is a rook, so I don't think he can do anything. And I'll be hitting 1400 right now. That's you know, huge win. Plays bishop h5. I'm wondering what's the best move to win here. Maybe g6. Bishop g6. I mean, I allowed this to happen, but I think something like rook e2 will end the game quickly. Yep. Because I'm attacking this way. Bishop e4, I think, I don't know, bishop e4 looks kind of interesting, you know, because bishop e4, queen e2, right? Yeah, maybe I allowed him some quadruple, but of course the position is still completely winning. Rook e4, queen d1, bishop e4, and the game is still ending due to his pawns being too weak. Let's say rook d7, I mean king g6. Rook e7, bishop g2, and I can trade and go back. He goes this way. Bishop c6, just come back. The king is wide open, so there are no chances whatsoever. I'm not sure why he continues playing it, but alright, rook g4. All I gotta do is trade pieces somehow. More of them. Rook f5, rook f6 is obviously an idea. h5, c5. Maybe this, just to take, so he doesn't have any checks. And rook h1 obviously loses, this takes, and they pick up it, this, a5, a4, a3, a2, a1, yeah, and he resigns. Let's get to the final game of this episode. 2 Scandinavian Gambits. Now let's go for e4. Will we see? Yeah, Yes, I think we might see some sort of Scotch Gambit. Let's play d4. He takes d4, bishop c4, knight f6, main line of course. He might go for bishop c5, which is another way to protect this pawn, but knight f6 is the main move. Castle. Knight f6, I go rook e1, and trying to push e5. Bishop g4, I think h3. Yeah, maybe c3, you know, just to continue with my kind of gambit approach. Yeah, knight e5 is actually a smart move. Queen d4 I think walks into c5 and I'm losing piece on c4. So it's a great move by him, but I'm actually a bit surprised. Knight f3 I'll just take. d3 takes, knight d4 just takes. Yeah, I mean, position is not that bad. It's actually a great way. Like, he played d6, which seems quite passive, but at the same time, I mean, it's not as terrible as you know, it seems. Yeah, it's passive because you have basically bishop on e7, which is kind of passive, and I have full control over the center, which is of course in my favor, since I go bishop f4, I go rook d1, and I'm trying to restrict him in space. Like, he wants to play b5, I play a4 just to get this opportunity away. And now obviously d6 isolated pawn. And in this position, it's important to attack it, not right away, but like bishop f4, rook d1, he plays d5. You see, the point is he wants to activate his bishop, and that's probably the right thing to do, because if he doesn't create any play, I mean, he'll just simply collapse soon. But now the point is, after takes, bishop has to go back somewhere, and I play bishop f4, and I mean, I'm just asking a few questions like, what's black gonna do? And there's just not too many good moves, unfortunately, for black pieces, and he decides to take, which is even more weird than it would have been. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure why he did that. I guess 1380, I mean, some 900s played better, but alright. Surprisingly, it is what it is. I win the game. Yeah, move on. That's it for today's episode. 3 games played, 1431. We're slowly climbing, you know, we're getting better. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what gambits you want to see in future episodes. Bye bye.